Well, I'm really happy we're able to finally open this channel up. This is the first episode
Mhm.
um, with me and with you. My name is Abby. I have been really interested in deep topics, spirituality. I came to know you not because we were discussing these kinds of topics, but because we were both on the same um, language learning platform. And now with my students, and especially with you, we are able to talk about deep human and
Mhm.
spiritual topics in English primarily.
Yes. Yes.
So I would, yeah, just love to hear a little bit about you, AG.
Yeah. I'm learning English, and Abby is my teacher. But we also have the same interest in the spirituality or deep topics, inner growth, or self-realization. So our conversation goes really deep always. So that's why we decided to start this channel. Yeah, and I'm happy to have this channel with you.
So I'm
Mm.
interested to see what kind of things we'll talk about because we have, I have told you for a long time when we first started speaking more regularly how it would be great if we could record this. It would be great if we spoke about this because usually these conversations are very unique and
Yeah.
they consist of an exchange always, right?
Mm.
Either you share your ideas or I share mine and we give our opinions. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to also make a note that we come from two different backgrounds, right?
Mhm.
I have primarily studied and lived in English speaking countries. And you, AG, where, and what have you done?
Yes. And yeah, I'm from Tokyo, Japan, and I'm not a native speaker, but I want to have a deep conversation in English and not using materials or just study like English. So that's more practical and eventually it's more useful. That's what I believe.
Of course. And I know you also, so I've known you for a little bit, but the people who are watching, they don't know what we do or what we're
Yeah.
interested in. I know you write. So can you tell everyone about the kind of topics you like to write about?
Yeah, I'm also a blogger and then my blog's themes spirituality, inner growth, and also English learning. And so this channel is a good project to support my blog too. So it linked together. So the audience can refer to my blog and more deeply, and then they will know about the topics profoundly. So
Exactly. I think it's really important to uh, let everybody know that you're writing a lot of these things for people who speak Japanese, right? So
yes, yes,
a lot of these topics are a lot of them are in English and they're very complicated, even in English.
yes.
For you, how important is it to translate everything correctly into a Japanese from English?
Yeah, I actually don't translate Japanese to English. I just get the image or information or insights in English directly. So sometimes I can't explain in Japanese, but I can explain English. So it's very strange, but I think I using different part of brain or a root in my brain. Yeah. So, but I think that means I'm using like a kind of, so to speak, English brain, you know. So yeah. So a lot of English learners translate from Japanese to English. So that's why it takes time to respond or understand the content or
Mhm.
context. But if you want to speak English fluently or understand English better, you should use your English brain, or you build your English brain. Yeah, that's the fastest way to learn English.
I I think that's really important. I also heard that reading is probably the best way to build that for English, I've heard, to build that English brain, right?
Exactly.
So you're reading some really complicated material. Even for me as native English speaker, when I first found out that you were reading books like Priestess Tufty, for example,
Yeah.
I decided to take a look and I couldn't understand anything. But when I looked at
Mm.
your blog, I know it's in Japanese, but I
hmm
translated the page.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was too complicated for me to understand, but it's very thorough. I think you're very
Yeah.
dedicated to making sure people understand through your blog
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what they're reading, this complicated stuff.
Yes, I think that's my strength, the most powerful trait or strong point. I can read English books or even like deep topics like Tufty, and I can interpret the idea very quickly and also output the idea by my own words. So yeah, that's my strength. And I realize that not everybody can do that easily, but for some reason, it's pretty easy for me. So that's why I decided to start blogging and also this podcast. Yeah. And but uh, actually, I don't speak English usually, so uh, so I felt I needed to practice or output English more, so the audience can enjoy the process of my growth, like English speaking too. Yeah. So now I don't think I'm good a speaker, but as we process the episodes, maybe you can see my improvement in speaking English too. That's another way to enjoy this channel. Yeah.
I think you're way too hard on yourself. A lot of the concepts that you're speaking about are, I think your average native speaker doesn't know what you're talking about. Not because what you're saying isn't understandable, but because it's really advanced stuff. Also
Uh-huh.
pretty esoteric things and topics.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's really good that you provide a place for people who speak Japanese to read about this because I, correct me if I'm wrong, I often don't
Uh-huh.
see or hear much about these kind of topics in Japanese. So, can you
Yes.
tell me and tell everybody a little bit about why or maybe what you're doing to help provide Japanese people or Japanese speakers with these
Mhm.
translations or not translations but interpretations and explanations.
Yeah. So spirituality is getting popular in Japan too. But I think that kind of topic is advanced in America or Europe and then in Japan. But Japan has our own culture or belief for like a spirituality. It's very different from the Western culture. But I think the spirituality has a lot of common things. And then so we can apply it to our lives. So I don't consider spirituality as like a religion or not something called a duality or something. So it's just a self-reflection, yeah, or tool to make our lives better.
So what you're saying is people don't have to be religious or spiritual to
Mm,
watch these episodes
exactly.
to learn.
Exactly. Yes. 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 Me personally, I believe in Shintoism, not Buddhist. Like,
It's different, right?
it's a different. So, but people consider they're pretty much the same, even in Japan. Yeah, Bud- Buddhism and Shintoism are pretty much the same concept. But for me, uh, they're totally not totally, but pretty yeah different.
It seems, especially when you live in that culture and in that, I guess you could call it, would you call it a way of life or a religion? Shinto for you, which one is it, would you say?
Well, Shinto is I don't consider Shinto religion. It's just the notion of life or the universe. Yeah, this concept. But on the other hand, Buddhism is a religion for me because it has certain teaching and rules and hierarchy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
It seems it.
yeah.
Oh, so it's not, Buddhism is what's a religion, and then but you believe in Shintoism, correct?
Yes, yes.
So it seems like regardless if you're religious or not religious, a lot of these topics are universal, right? A lot of them
Yeah,
are,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they don't involve religion, I would say, for me.
Yeah, for me, spirituality is more like science. Yeah, unknown science. Spirituality can be understood logically, not like a fantasy or.
Well, to speak about that, there are certain branches of people who consider themselves perhaps spiritual or consider themselves a certain group. So that's different, right? They have their own understanding, they have their own group. And at least in the Western world, it seems like you said earlier, it's a little bit more developed. Sometimes what I've seen recently in social media over the past couple of years, it has become a little mainstream, which is both, I think, a good thing and a bad thing because I would say maybe 10 years ago, I never heard much about spirituality being talked about on the internet. And then all of a sudden, it's very common to hear somebody talk about energy or
Mm,
masculinity and femininity and
yeah.
the vibration of the world. It's more common to hear that now. But on the other hand, there are people who will, I don't know if you've heard the word like to gatekeep something, if that makes sense. So they will say, this is what it means like to be spiritual. Anything different is not, right? But even that's not very open and not very spiritual. But I've seen certain groups, not groups, I should say, I shouldn't say that, certain people that will be spiritual, but will try to pressure other people to be like them. When I think, in my personal opinion, spirituality is something that should be discovered on your own. Like you said, it has to do a little bit with self-actualization. You realize things for your own. It's not a race.
Hmm.
You're
Yeah,
you're on you're on your own track.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's a big difference. So spirituality should be inward, not outward. But it's my just my opinion. But a lot of religions toward outward that they expecting help from outside
Mhm.
or teachings from outside. But spirituality is just
We should
self-inspection.
talk about how this came into our lives, respectively. When I was quite young, I always had a feeling that life was a lot more complicated and bigger than I was learning about in schools. I did a lot of things that maybe were strange to other kids. I remember when I was 10 or 13, I would imagine I had an energy bubble. And when I felt scared, I would, put an energy bubble around myself, which is something I do if I ever meditate. I do this. It's the same thing, you protect your energy. But there's always that curiosity about what happens with whatever we have inside of us. Some people might call that a soul. Some people think we don't have anything. It's just once we die. But on the internet, there are a lot of cases where many people claim that there's a hidden science on this planet, a hidden explanation to why humans are the way they are and why they're so special, I think.
Mm,
But
yeah.
maybe it's arrogant to say humans are so special. I guess just the energy inside of us is quite special, I would say.
Yeah.
How about you, AG? How did you become interested in these kinds of
Mhm.
topics?
Yeah, I don't have any specific episode or reason, but since I was a kid, I've always watched
Mhm,
myself from the not outside, but the other identity inside myself. So it's very flat and then calm
mhm, mhm.
and then how can I say a wider perspective. But I also have my own personality, which was like a very emotional and then immature or just yeah, uh, same as other people. But I always feel I have two different perspectives in myself. So and then I realized that maybe that not spiritual, but something about the spirituality or there's something behind body and mind. So that's where I started to get interested in spirituality.
We've been talking about the same topics because it's so broad, I think. And it's not just spirituality. Oftentimes it will be different every time we talk. But regardless, I think it's very good to have these open discussions with someone who's willing to have the open discussions as well.
Hmm. Yes. So I think this kind of topics is very sensitive. Actually, it's not sensitive, but for many people, they kind of hesitate to talk about such things. So we can prove that we can talk about such things more casually and even English. But that's very unique. And then I think nobody
Mhm.
have ever tried that kind of conceptual channels in English, especially people like me, English learner.
You still live in your native country and you are able to develop your English to the level that it is,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, yes, yeah. So yeah, our target is English learner in Japan mainly, but also I want people from all over the world enjoy this channel and know the difference of perspectives from people from Japan and people from their own countries. So that's another, yeah, I'm enjoyable part of our channel.
There are a lot of language learners. More importantly, there's more deep thinkers in all over the world as opposed to in one place. And so I know that this was just a brief introduction for both of us, but we're hoping that people will feel the need to stay a little longer and learn a little bit more. And more importantly, join the discussion with us, um, and take a look at, what AJ is writing about. I think a lot of what we talk about tends to be supported in his writing. So definitely take a look. And if you have any questions, of course, we can always answer them. I think I don't know. I want to answer for both of us, but I think new topics are invited are welcome.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are always open. So maybe, yeah, we're gonna wrap up here today. And next time we will dive into the deep topics.